Each year at my Passover Seder, I'm brought right back to memories of Seders past. I think of what made us laugh, what foods we ate, what creative ways we told the Exodus story, and most importantly, who was sitting around the table. Some who were still around the table this year, and some who we have lost. I think about when I was young enough to be reciting the 4 questions, and who sat next to me, cheering me on with overflowing love, whether I got the words right or not. Nostalgia and memories are with us on every holiday, every birthday, every anniversary, every major occasion that we celebrate annually. We remember the loved ones we were lucky enough to celebrate those occasions with. But Passover is unique, partially because it is so home-focused, so we have fewer memories of sitting in synagogue and more memories of sitting around a dining room table. But it's unique for one other reason, too, that in addition to feeling the missing loved ones around our Seder table, there is something else missing from our Seders, too. For those of you who have, at some point, been the youngest participant in a Seder, you know that the 4 questions we ask are why we eat matzah, why we eat maror, why we dip our foods, and why we recline. But if you look at the original text of the 4 questions from the Mishnah, the question about reclining isn't included, and in its place, we have a different question. On every other night, we eat meat that is cooked, boiled, or roasted, but on this night, why only roasted meat? The question is referring to the Paschal lamb, the sacrificial offering for Passover that people were to eat as part of the Seder. But when the temple was destroyed and we could no longer sacrifice the Paschal lamb, we took out that question and added one about reclining. Many families, however, do have the practice of eating lamb at their Passover Seders, and what this means is that there should really be 5 questions, not 4. Our Seders, in their current form, are missing one. And so too with the 4 cups of wine. You may have heard that the reason behind the 4 cups of wine at the Seder is the 4 biblical expressions of deliverance. God says, I will bring you out of Egypt, I will deliver you, I will redeem you, and I will take you to me as a nation. But actually, the very next verse is yet another of these promises. I will bring you to the land of Israel. In truth, there are 5 biblical expressions of deliverance, and some of the rabbis of the Mishnah argued that there should be 5 cups of wine as well. By the Middle Ages, there was a serious debate about this. Rashi said, we absolutely must not drink a 5th cup of wine. Maimonides said it's optional, and Ravad, a 12th century French rabbi, said we must drink the 5th cup. So with no way to please everyone, the practice evolved to pour a 5th cup of wine, but not drink it. That is Elijah's cup. What all of this means is that there should be 5 questions, but we're missing one. There should be 5 biblical verses of deliverance, but we're missing one. And there should be 5 cups of wine. But after we pour the 5th cup, we wait for a Seder guest who never arrives, at least not physically. The Seder is a ritual of that which is missing. We don't tend to think of the welcoming of Elijah as an eerie moment at the Seder. In fact, I know a lot of people for whom that is the highlight. We get up, stretch our legs, get a breath of fresh air from outside, and sometimes create an opportunity for silliness with the children around the table, wondering whether the level of wine in the cup really went down. But think about what we are really doing. We open the door for an expected guest, someone we long to see, someone we long to welcome into our home, and then nothing. It's actually a moment of emptiness, a moment of unanswered yearning. We don't typically set an entire place setting, complete with a chair and a Haggadah for Elijah, only the glass of wine. But what a powerful symbol it would be if we did. If all night long, as we chatted and discussed and drank our wine and asked our questions, there was an empty seat, an unfulfilled hope sitting among us. If as the youngest Seder participant asked the 4 questions, they paused, providing silence in place of the 5th question. If as we mentioned the 4 verses about our deliverance, we sat expectantly, knowing there was a 5th, but it was missing. If as we poured the 5th cup of wine for Elijah and opened the door for him, we imagined not only a prophet walking into our home, but our very own loved ones who had been at our Seders past. Just as we hold space for Elijah, even in his absence, we always hold space for our lost loved ones too. As much joy as the Passover holiday brings us, and as much joy as gathering with family and friends for Seders brings us, there is always an empty seat at the Seder table. Metaphorical, most likely, but it is there. Who is in the empty chair at your table? In mine, it's my bubby, who never tired of playing with me as a child. It's my grandma, who imparted her passion for social work and tikkun olam, repairing the world. It's my grandpa, who always said that he was a rich man, not rich with money, but rich with family and love. My memories of my grandparents at our Seder table are with me each year at Passover. I feel them sitting in the seats next to me, smiling at me, hugging me, teaching me, wanting to just be with me. When you sat down at your Seder table last week, who was your empty seat for? When you opened the door for Elijah, who did you long to see walk into your home and take a sip of that 5th cup of wine? Luckily, each year we put out new seats at our Seder tables too, but we never fully fill the space. We always hold space. We always have metaphorical, empty seats. Just as we do here in our Yizkor service, we remember those who used to sit next to us at synagogue, just like we remember those who used to sit next to us at our Passover Seders. Now is our time to feel their presence with us, to feel the ache of the empty seat, and to let the memories in.